Hi everyone, myself Dr. P. Soumya, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this session, I am going to discuss about definitions and terminology of biodiversity and biotic resources. So first question is, what is define biodiversity? Define biodiversity. So this term biodiversity, it was first coined by Walter G. Rosen. So here the biodiversity, it was first coined by Walter G. Rosen in 1986. The word biodiversity, it originates from Greek word bios, means life. So it is derived from Greek word, that is bios means life, Latin word. So here that is diversity. So bios, it is derived from Greek word, Latin word, it is diversity. So that means variety or difference. So here biodiversity first coined by Walter G. Rosen in 1986. So the meaning of bios is life. Diversity means variety or difference. The whole word biodiversity, generally it is meaning of biodiversity is variety of life. Bios means life. Diversity means variety or difference. So the whole word, the meaning of whole biodiversity is variety of life. So here, what is the definition of biodiversity? Means it is the degree of variation of life. Biodiversity, it is the degree of variation of life. It is the measure of the variety of organisms. It is a measure of variety of organisms present in different ecosystems. So biodiversity means it is variety of life. The biodiversity, it is also known as degree of variation of life. It is a measure of a variety of organisms like plants or in animals, like that. Variety of organisms present in different ecosystems are called as biodiversity. It is nothing but variety of life. Next definition is define genetic biodiversity. So biodiversity, it is having, so it is classified into various types. So in that one of the classification is one of the type of biodiversity is genetic biodiversity. Define genetic biodiversity means genetic biodiversity, it is a diversity within species. So it is a diversity within species, variation of genes. So the meaning of genetic biodiversity means it is the diversity within species. So that is variation in genes within the species. Example of this genetic biodiversity is called rice varieties. So here teak, wood trees, Indian teak, Burma teak and Malaysian teak. So we have different examples for genetic diversity. In that, first example is rice varieties and second one is teak wood varieties. So teak wood trees. So in this we have different teak plant trees like Indian teak, Burma teak, Malaysian teak. So these all are same class of trees, but these are having different genes. These are having variation in genes. So these are that's why these are called with different names like Indian teak, Burma teak, Malaysian teak. So here genetic diversity, it is nothing but, so it is due to variation of genes. The genetic diversity, it refers to the total genetic information contained in the genes of individual plants, animals and microorganisms. So the total genetic information contained in the genes of individuals of plants, animals and microorganisms. So the genes found in organisms can form enormous number of combinations, each of which gives some variability. So each combination of gene, it will give variety of organism, variety of living organism. So here this is the genetic biodiversity. It is due to variation in genes. So if we the genes found in organism, this can form enormous number of combinations. So each combination, it will form some organism with variation in genes. So when the genes within the same species, it will show different versions due to new combinations. It is called as genetic variability. So here, when the genes within the same species show different versions, so due to new combination of genes, it is called as genetic variability. So here, but what is genetic biodiversity means? Genetic biodiversity, it is taking place within the species due to variation of genes. So this is about genetic biodiversity. So next, define species diversity. So species diversity, it is nothing but number or variety of species in a particular region. Number or variety of species in a particular ecosystem or in a particular region is called as species diversity. Number of different species that are represented in a given community. So this is also known as number of different species that are represented in a given community, and the species diversity incorporates both the number of species in a community and the evenness of species abundances. So it is giving information about number of species in a community and the evenness of species and species abundances. So species diversity, it is nothing but number of variety of species in a particular community, in a particular region. So what are biotic resources? Biotic resources are nothing but living resources. Biotic resources are resources derived from biosphere. Biotic resources, these are derived from biosphere. So bio means it is living things. So living organisms. Biotic resources, biotic resources are derived from biosphere, such as living things, and from forest. So which are derived from biosphere or from the living things or forest. So and the materials derived from them. And the materials derived from them are called as biotic resources. So biotic resources are derived from biosphere. So this includes all the living things as well as the materials which are derived from all the living things. So like forest. So this is called as biotic resources. So these resources are called as biotic resources. Examples of biotic resources are flora, human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock. So human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, these are the examples of all the living organisms. These are examples of biotic resources. What is the consumptive use value of biodiversity? What is the consumptive use value of biodiversity? The value of nature's product, that are consumed directly, such as firewoods, fodder and meat. The value of nature's product that are consumed directly. The value of nature's product that are consumed directly, such as firewood, fodder and meat. So this is called as the consumptive use value of biodiversity. Consumptive use value of biodiversity. So we can say, in other words, we can say that the product which are consumed directly without passing through the market. The product which are consumed directly without passing through the market. So these are all called as consumptive use value of biodiversity. Consumptive use value, this seldom appear in national income accounts. So here consumptive use value seldom appear in national income accounts. So what is the consumptive use value of biodiversity means? It is a nature product, so which can be consumed directly without passing through the market. Next definition is, what is productive use value? Next question is, what is productive use value? Products collected from the forest and these are sold in the market for economic returns. Productive use value. So here this is products collected from the forest, products collected from the nature, and these are sold in the market for economic returns. These are called as, so this type of value is called as productive use value. Important products are non-timber forest products like fuel wood, fruits, fiber, honey, gum. So these all are important products, so which are having productive use value. Non-timber forest produces, so like fuel wood, fruits, fiber, honey, gum. So timber for construction and industrial uses, these can bamboo products, cane and bamboo products. So these are used, these are the timber products which are used for construction as well as industrial purposes. So these products are coming from the forest. So these are collected from the forest. These are collected from the nature and these are sold in market. So for the economic return, so that value is called as productive use value. So next definition is define endemic species. An endemic species, it is the one that is only found in that region and nowhere else in the world. The endemic species, it is the species, it is one species that is only found in specific region, only found in that region, and it cannot find it nowhere in the world, nowhere else in the world. So that species is called as endemic species. So as such, they are conservation concerned because they are not widespread and may be confined to only one or two protected areas. As such, they are of conservation concern because they are not widespread and they may be confined to only one or two protected areas. So here, so we have some endemic species like Cyprea Himalayan. This is endemic species, so which is present in Himalayas. So and also long-tailed macaque. So this is also fauna. This is an example of flora. So this is an example of fauna. So these are endemic species. These are only found in specific regions. They are not found in nowhere else in the world. So they are called as endemic species. Define invasive species. An invasive species, it is an organism that is not indigenous or native environment. So here invasive species, it is an organism or it is a living organism that is not indigenous or non-native environment. Invasive species, it can be plant or animal or any insect. Invasive species, it can be a plant or animal or any insect. Invasive species are among the leading threats to the native wildlife. Approximately 42% of threatened or endangered species are at risk due to invasive species. Approximately 42% of threatened or endangered species, these are at risk because of the invasive species. So these invasive species, it will affect the human health and economies. So these are also at risk from invasive species. Human health as well as economies are these are also at high risk because of the invasive species. So the impacts of invasive species on our natural ecosystem and economy cost billions of dollars each year. So invasive species, it is an organism, it is not indigenous or it is not native to the environment. So it is giving negative effects on the each flora and fauna and other organisms present in ecosystem. So invasive species, this can be a plant or animal or insect. So due to this, human health and economies are these are at high risk, and also the invasive species impact on they are impacting our natural ecosystem and also economy. So what are endangered species? So a species of plant or animal that is in immediate danger, in danger of becoming extinct and needs protection to survive. Endangered species, these are species of plant or animal. These are the species of plants or animal, so that is in immediate danger of becoming extinct and also which needs protection to survive are called as endangered species. Endangered species that at risk of extinction. These type of species, these are at risk of extinction. And species with a small or declining population are very small range. So, and these are species which are not found after searches of known or likely areas where they may occur. Examples of such endangered species are Asian pangolin, red-headed vulture, Sumatran elephant. So many examples are there. So it's only 3 examples here: Asian pangolin, red-headed vulture, Sumatran elephant. So these are the examples of endangered species. These are the living things which are in immediate danger. Define hotspot of biodiversity. Term hotspot. So this was coined by Norman Myers. Hotspot, this is used by Norman Myers in 1988. So here the hotspots of biodiversity, these are the geographical regions. Hotspots of biodiversity, these are geographical regions which are rich in endemic, rare, threatened species. Which are rich in endemic species, which has rich in rare species and threatened species, and facing significant threats to the habitat loss due to direct and indirect interference of human activities. So, according to the Conservation International, a biodiversity hotspot, it is defined by the following 2 criteria. First criteria, it must have at least 1500 species of endemic vascular plants, endemism, and it is degree, and plants endemism is the degree to which species are found in only in a given species. So here it must have at least 1500 species of endemic vascular plants, and also it must have lost at least 70% of its original area. So here they must have at least 1500 species of each endemic species, and it must have lost their at least 70% of its original area. So this type of spots are called as hot spots. So this was first used by Norman Myers in 1988. So hot spots are, so these are the geographical regions which are rich in endemic, rare and threatened species, so which are due to direct and indirect interference of human activities. Next question is, list out hotspot regions in India. So we have four hotspots in India: Eastern Himalayas, Western Ghats, and also Andaman Nicobar Islands. Eastern Himalayas, Western Ghats, and Andaman Nicobar Islands. These are the hotspots regions in India. So what is conservation of biodiversity? Biodiversity, so here it is one of the important tools for sustainable development. So the enormous value of biodiversity due to their commercial, medical, genetic, aesthetic and ecological importance. Conservation, it is nothing but the management of biosphere to yield the greatest sustainable benefit. So conservation of biodiversity, it is nothing but the management of biosphere to yield the greatest sustainable benefit to present generation. The management of biosphere to yield greatest sustainable benefit to the present generation is called as conservation of biodiversity. So here this conservation of biodiversity, 2 types: in situ conservation, ex situ conservation. In situ conservation includes national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, sacred groves. And the ex situ conservation includes geological parks, botanical gardens, gene banks, and crop preservation. So these are the examples of ex situ conservation. So next question is define in situ conservation of biodiversity. In situ conservation of biodiversity, it is the process of protecting an endangered plant or animal species in its natural habitat, either by protecting or cleaning up the habitat itself, or by defending the species from the predators. So here this is the conservation, it is taking place in its natural habitat. So in situ conservation, it is a process of protecting animals, endangered plants or endangered animals within its natural habitat, either by protection or by cleaning up the habitats, and also by defending the species from the predators. So this is the in situ conservation of biodiversity. So this type of conservation takes place in the natural habitats of the plants and animals. So wildlife and livestock conservation, it is the mostly based on in situ conservation. The wildlife and livestock conservation, it is mostly based on in situ conservation. Example of in situ conservation are biosphere reserves, by making biosphere reserves national parks. National parks, so we can conserve we can protect the endangered plants and animal species within its natural habitats. Define ex situ conservation of biodiversity. Ex situ conservation, it is the conservation and maintenance of samples of living organisms outside their natural habitat. So it is the process of conservation of the living organisms outside their natural habitat. So in the form of whole plants, in the form of seeds, pollen, vegetative propagules, tissues or cell cultures. So here the conservation, it is the ex situ conservation is the conservation and maintenance of a sample of living organisms outside their natural habitat. It is in the form of whole plants, seeds, pollen, tissues and cell cultures which are stored in different banks. So here examples of ex situ conservation of biodiversity are seed banks, gene bank, etc. Seed bank, gene bank, etc. So these are ex situ conservation of biodiversity examples. So what are rare species? Rare species, it is a group of organisms that are very uncommon. Rare species is a group of organisms that are very uncommon, scarce or infrequently encountered. These are very uncommon, scarce or infrequently encountered. This designation may be applied to either a plant or animal taxon. So designation of rare species may be made by an official body such as a national government, state government or province. So here rare species, it is nothing but it is a group of organisms. It is a group of organisms that are in very uncommon, scarce or infrequently encountered are called as rare species. So what are threatened species? So we know that endangered means species which are in danger. Endangered means species which are in danger of extinction throughout all or a significant portion of its range. So whereas threatened means a species it is likely to become endangered within the foreseeable future. Within the foreseeable future. Threatened means it is a species it is likely to become endangered. Endangered means the species in danger. The species in danger. So here threatened means the species this is likely to become endangered within the foreseeable future. And other definition is it is in any species which are vulnerable to extinction in the near future. So these are called as threatened species. So these are likely to become endangered within the foreseeable future or called as threatened species. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.